So, Representative Carter, you're recognized for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank all of you for this, for being on this very important hearing and being a part of it. Mrs. Vanda High, I wanted to ask you, a lot of your testimony today has been about the good work that the EPA is doing to protect our drinking water and how the system works for people. You discussed the cost-benefit analysis that you feel like should be taken into consideration whenever there are any kind of substantial changes that are made. And I can appreciate that. Having been a former mayor, I am very appreciative of that, and certainly appreciative of it at a federal level where we were often mandated what we were supposed to do, and we referred to them as unfunded mandates. And you know, having said that, obviously we were very concerned about the safety of our citizens and the health of our citizens, but also it includes the financial health of our city. So just wanted to ask you, what are the biggest concerns you have in that space of the cost-benefit analysis, and how would your members handle an increase in costs like that? You're on mute. Ms. Vanda High, you're muted.
Okay, so sorry about that. There are 2 points that I'd like to make to sort of clarify something, and that is under the Safe Drinking Water Act standard setting process, what is feasible is taken into consideration when setting a standard. Feasible is defined as what works for the larger system. It does not apply to the smallest system. So feasible there is defined as what is technologically feasible for the largest system. And so you have a separate provision that takes cost benefits into consideration. And I will say that again, into consideration. It does not say under that provision of the statute that thou shalt set a standard where the benefits exceed the cost. It doesn't say that. So the cost-benefit analysis, I think, in the Safe Drinking Water Act is there for public consumption, for people to consider when standards are being set. So I'm not sure if I answered your question, but
I appreciate
the analysis is important for water systems to see. It's important for the public to see. It's important for everyone to see. It doesn't make any sense to not have it, especially when you do not have to set the standards based on it.
Right. Well, I can appreciate exactly what you're saying, because I became mayor of a city in 1996 that had a population of 4,500. And when I left as mayor in 2004, no kidding, our population was 19,000. So we had tremendous amount of growth. And with that came what I refer to as the nuts and bolts of municipal government, and that is water, sewer, things that as a educated pharmacist, I didn't have any clue about those things until I became mayor. But I learned it real quick, and I learned the impact that some of these regulations can have on a municipality, particularly on a small municipality. So I can appreciate very much what you're saying there. Let me ask you another question, Ms. Vanda High. You talked about the Safe Drinking Water Act as it pertains to urgent threats to public health. Can you define urgent threats as you think the EPA is using it in that context?
It's not defined in the statute. I think Flint, Michigan is a good example of an urgent threat to public health. And there were multiple reasons for that, and the water system was part of the problem, but so was the state, so was EPA as far as I'm concerned, because they could have taken action earlier than they did, because it was a case of urgent public health problem, and I think that it was known about, and that they could have taken action quicker.
Okay.
The term urgent is not defined under the statute that I know of.
Right, and do you feel like it needs to be?
Perhaps maybe that's something that we all could talk about.
Yeah, it just seems to me like when you're not at least having some kind of guidelines with it, that it becomes subjective, and that's something that, again, as a former mayor, I can tell you I never liked to be in that situation either. So I'm out of time, but thank you all very much. Obviously, a very important issue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll yield back.